Hey, just so y'all know, Love Hanoi is on board here, so we're super excited to welcome Jacob. Share just a little bit briefly about your city and your vision for Vietnam.
Thank you. You got an hour? I think
Oh, I got 2 minutes. Go.
yeah, I've been here 25 years, pastor of the International Fellowship in Hanoi. We started Love Hanoi 10 years ago, and we're still working on the citywide movement. But other cities want to do what we're doing in Hanoi and throughout Vietnam, but also now in Thailand. And so, and back in the US, they hear our story and it's like, we got to do something like that. So that's been really cool. So really awesome to be part of this network. Thank you, Jeff.
Oh man, thank you. I'm so excited to see how this develops and grows here. All right, let's do this. The last month, some of you have had your volunteer days. New Braunfels, Texas, Riverside, Salida, Newport Beach, La Mirada. If you're on the call, can you just share just a highlight of your day this past month, as well as another creative idea that maybe like a farmer's market idea, another idea that maybe other cities we could all hear and maybe, learn from you and maybe implement in our own cities. And so, Kim, I see you're on. I'm just going to call on people. Share us briefly one highlight and one idea.
Sure. Yeah. New Braunfels does ours the second weekend of October every year. The last 2 years, we've grown by 60% in our volunteers, which has been crazy. So we're trying to now, we are 100% volunteer run and a very small budget. So we're starting to figure out how to hire, which is fun. So we had 1,100 volunteers at 85 sites this couple weeks ago and went off without a hitch. My whole team was like, what happened? We should have had some emergencies. So that was a huge God thing. I think one thing to share that's worked the last 2 years for us is we started it last year because we knew with COVID, some people weren't going to want to go and do a site, but we still wanted to do Big Serve, which is what we call our Love Our Cities event. And we started a hub for donations and for other easy ways to serve, like writing encouragement cards to nurses or teachers. And then having a few smaller projects that you could just kind of show up and do for 20 minutes, or if you didn't sign up, you just came to the hub, and that has been hugely successful for us to not just make people go out and serve if they have plans or only have 20 minutes or small kids that can't go paint a wall. So that would be my cool suggestion that's worked for us.
Great idea. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, Lynn. Love Riverside. Share us about Love Riverside.
There. Sorry.
That's okay.
In the middle of getting ready to dash out the door. So Love Riverside Serve Day this year was smaller, which we kind of anticipated. We had 13 projects with 233 volunteers. Projects were both in the morning and in the afternoon. We ended up doing an afternoon celebration at one of our projects, which was a farm, which was very family oriented, very, very fun. I think the creative side was two things. One, ending the day with more of a celebration. We have not done the rally since the pandemic started, and we're actually, our team is actually liking that better because Riverside's a big city. So by the time they would show up at the rally, they would have to drive a half hour to their project. It just didn't work for our city, the morning rally, but the post event seems to be working well. The creative idea also was getting moms involved with kids. We have a big Fit for Mom group that showed up at our big Fairmont Park, huge park in our city, and they did trash pickup and beautification with kids and strollers and stuff. So that was a really great collaboration with some young mom fitness groups. And lastly, we have kind of become, since pandemic started, year round. So our Serve Day has definitely minimized a bit because other efforts that we're doing has greatly expanded. We just entered into a contract with the city for a 12-month program of serving seniors with food So we
Wow.
are in 19 different senior apartments every month up until August of next year. And that has exploded, which is where I'm going. Here's our new t-shirt we also got. Everyone loves our black t-shirt
Very
because
cool.
it's for, we have white for our volunteers that we give freely. We have red for our project leaders to identify them. And now we have our black one, which is for our sponsors, our donors, those who are undergirding us. And so that's been a fun thing. So anyway, all along we wanted to do year round and we are there and it's keeping us very, very busy. So that's the highlight from Riverside.
So cool, and very, very, very cool. All right, Steve from La Mirada. Did I see Steve on here? Not yet. Okay. Raina, what's for breakfast today?
I'm having avocado and egg and toast. That's my usual
Oh,
breakfast. So
awesome. I love it.
sorry if you hear a little voice in the background, it's my son next to me. So
Very cool. Hey, share
Yeah.
with us about Newport Beach, our very first time of Newport Beach.
yeah. So Newport Beach, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna
Okay.
try my best to talk over my son. So the reason I had the opportunity to do Newport Beach was because the mayor of Newport came to Costa Mesa, loved what he saw. He said, please bring it to Newport. So that's how we got started. Newport Beach for its first year was pretty incredible. We had 40 projects and over 500 volunteer opportunities. And the final numbers, I think we hit in between 300 to 400 volunteers that showed up. A highlight for me is, a highlight for Newport Beach is we were able to work with code enforcement, and we had 3 houses identified. Code enforcement helped us vet them, helped us really convince them to receive help, and all 3 of them accepted help on that day. And the most incredible thing was one of them, she tried to commit suicide 3 years ago, and she prayed for someone to knock on her door to help her with her code enforcement violation. And that project leader that showed up, I mean, the lady was like, I literally prayed for you to knock on my door and you were an answered prayer. That whole project was a miracle. There were like 10 miracles that happened that day for that project. So the ones that are helping neighbors were really incredible. The other really successful project idea that came out of Newport Beach was how to engage our churches. And so we had a gal that literally found a church partner for every fire station in the city and served every firefighter and every policeman breakfast on that day. So they were extremely moved. And that was a great first step in for churches because they've never experienced something like this before. So that's how Newport Beach went.
Awesome. Thank you, Raina, so much. Very, very cool. Okay. Have you all had a chance to start reading our book yet? If you have not received it yet, let me know because I want to definitely get you a copy. Thank you, Jacob. And by next month, if I would love, if possible, if you all were able to finish reading it by next month, because I'd love to discuss it a little bit. January, we really start promoting it. Right now, it's kind of just you guys and a few other people. So I think it'd be really helpful to get some honest feedback before we start going really public with it. So please try to finish reading it by next month. And I just can't wait. Eric and I just can't wait to hear your guys' honest thoughts and suggestions, ideas that come out of that. Last week, guys, I had the best time with you guys in SoCal. Seriously, just meeting people in person is such an impactful thing. I feel so much more connected with you, so much more connected with your cities and just driving around down there. And man, my hope and prayer is to get around to every city. I don't know if that's possible around the country and all that, but I want to. So I got a feeling something is going to come together here in the future, but super proud of your guys' efforts and just appreciate you so much and all that you're doing and loving your city. Thank you all for the contracts and your donations. Almost everybody has sent it in, so yay. Really, really appreciate that. And then before we get to John, one idea that I've been kind of throwing around to a number of you guys, this idea of the word serve and the word volunteer. And I'm seeing some of you guys are still hanging on to that word serve, which I think is fine. If it works for you, awesome. But as I've been doing some different interviews and, you know, surveys, whatever, with different people in the church, outside the church, is something to think about. The word serve seems to be more of an insider church word. The word volunteer seems to be a word that is recognized, you know, all around our community as something for all people to get involved in. And so I'm not dictating anything. I'm just sharing with you that I feel like that the word volunteer might be more impactful for you to use as you promote your different, you know, activities, people get involved in the community here. So any comments, whatever, let me know. We're not going to have time to discuss it right now because we got a website to go over. So John, take it away. Let's learn about, walk us through the back end of our brand new website platform.
Awesome. Yeah, let me share our screen here. Yeah, as you guys are kind of used to, we've got with the new system, we're going to have kind of the back end website and then the front end. Your front end website obviously is the front facing website for your that everyone actually goes to and uses. Whereas your kind of admin portal is with the new system, it's actually on its own separate kind of domain. Whereas before you would go to lovemodesto.com/admin, right? Your new setup's actually going to be a subdomain. So it'll be admin.yourcity's URL. And so when you come here, you're going to manage all of your stuff, manage all the settings. You're going to view all your contacts, manage all your projects and that kind of stuff. And so I'm just going to we'll walk through kind of all the kind of each piece and how you edit things, how you adjust things and so on. And then we'll have kind of some opportunities for questions as they come and so on. So, all right. So first we'll walk through kind of all the settings just so you guys get to see kind of all the dynamic stuff you get to adjust and change. And then we'll get into the projects themselves. So the first area here in our settings is all of our project categories. So you're able to add new categories. You can toggle categories on or off, or then even delete them. So if you want to build out your own categories, more than just what we kind of pre-populate it with, really easy to do that. All of those categories, if they don't have any projects assigned to them, they're not going to show up on the main website. So it kind of self-monitors a little bit that way, but just an easy way to do that. As well, for your project view, you can set the main kind of default view if you want a grid versus a list, and some of those kinds of things. So easy to how you want your users to interact with your projects. They can toggle between the views. Grid's going to be the more pretty version, and so that's the default there, but you can change it. Within your sponsors, we worked hard to try to help create more of a process for you within your sponsor management. And I'll show you what that process is, but this kind of controls all of that settings. So basically what you award to your sponsors, you're able to adjust accordingly. And so that's going to include if they're displayed on your home page, which is just kind of the main sponsor module that you're adding. If you want it displayed with all of your sponsors, that main area where you want to see everyone. Then if that sponsor gets to be assigned as a project sponsor, if they're assigned as a project sponsor, it'll show then right on that sponsor page with their logo in that way. And then if they're on their level, if they get to actually have a logo, or if it's just text. So if it's just text, we'll just drop in their name that you've added in that way. And then you can control even how large of a logo that is displayed. And so as you edit these, you're able to just, again, edit all those settings really easily, change how they show up and that kind of stuff. All of our tables have these kind of three dots to the left, and these are just how you can reorder. So really easy to kind of drag and drop and move around to where you want them to reorder themselves in that way. Awesome. Questions on sponsor levels? I know that gets a little more complicated, but
I'm just curious about one thing on projects being on designating certain sponsors, project sponsors, that's not on this page, right?
No, yeah, good question. Yep, this is just big picture settings. Yeah, we'll get into how you actually assign the sponsors for each project. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just curious when we get to that, if you could kind of explain to us where that fits in kind of the context of, I guess, the program, because that's new, right? Specifically project sponsors.
Yeah, it might be new to your city. I know some have done it. I think
Okay.
Modesto's done it for a while. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No, good question. Good. All right. Next, we get into the affiliations. And so this, there's two approaches as we guys get you into the new system. This page will populate itself, right? As people sign up, they're allowed to add in their own affiliation. And it'll show the list of what affiliations are there. And then they can also do an other affiliation. So this allows you to manage that because often there become duplicates if people spell something wrong or something like that. So you can remove in that way, or you can even pre-populate it with your own affiliations. On your front end website, we do always have the ability to tweak your registration forms a little bit. So if you're like, we don't want them to be able to add their own affiliations, I just want to set them, they have to contact us if they want their own affiliation or something like that. We can always do that too, to shut down any of those if that's a headache for you. There's those options. Again, really easy to edit, delete, and those things.
Jonathan, if someone puts in a new affiliation and they've misspelled it, so you want to delete it, does that take it off of their affiliation?
Yeah, you know that it would. And what? Yeah, not you're saying that it'd be easy to be able to basically merge affiliations is what we would want.
Right.
And so we could change their affiliation to become the affiliation they wanted. Yeah, I'll make a note for that. That's good.
Yeah, I had that
Thank
problem
you.
all the time.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I have double affiliations. Also, people don't know that they can add their affiliation too. It's not obvious when they go sign up.
Yeah, I think, Curtis, I think yours is a little different than the other ones. And that might be why. I think we fixed that already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
John, is it possible that we could have a church and an affiliation? Because I know I have people that are like signing up because they're part of Rotary, but I'd also love to know what church they're from, as I'm trying to get pastors to say, hey, look, your people are involved. Come join us on a bigger level.
Yeah, good. So they can select multiple affiliations. So they can select as many as they want. And so it could have, the church name as well as the Rotary. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. Awesome. All right. The next option here is going to be all the custom fields we have for contacts. And so this is when they're creating their account, what other information do you want to acquire about them, about their contact profile. And so this is where you can drop in demographic information, gender, ethnicity, those things. So the things that don't go here would be like, I want to sign, I want to help set up for an event. This is just stuff that you want to know about them. That's never going to change. That's not year to year or event to event. It's just their contact stuff. And so we've got all these different fields on the left or on the right here that you can add. So pretty easy. You can add a text box, what you want the name to be, if you want it required or not. And then as you add that, it's going to drop in here. So text box, just a single line of text. Text area, it's going to be multi-line, so 3-4 lines of, so more if you want like a response about something. Drop down is going to be kind of that classic drop down. You're going to do one option per line, so option 1, option 2, and so on in that way.
Now, for the person's question who asked earlier about basically affiliations and churches, isn't this somewhere we could basically add that demographic information as well?
Yeah.
Like if we wanted to have them list what church they're a part of or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, you could add a text box, church name or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And something to always be thinking about that Jeff started even getting into with right using the term volunteer versus serve is when you're pushing a created like an account page like this, and you're asking people to register. It's not bad to have a church name field, but you're starting to communicate a message that you're assuming everyone who's coming has a church that they want to put in there. And so if someone's not a part of a church, they come to register, they see that, they might be like, oh, this isn't for me because I'm not a part of it.
That's fair enough. That's a good point, and thanks for raising it. Maybe we can have it something else a bit more generic, or have it as an optional. Can it be an optional field?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, we can mark it as required. I see that. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's, sometimes blending it with affiliations kind of solves that a little bit, because it's like, oh no, I'm part of the Rotary, I'm not a part of that church. But then people who are part of the church, they're going to click that because they're, or hopefully they'll click that if they're excited to be a part of their church. Yeah, not good.
And we can can we make these drop downs as well, basically, and populate basically the items that would be in the drop downs?
Exactly. Yep.
So then,
those
I just want to throw this idea out for the rest of the group. If maybe your city has specific churches, right, and you want to list those in a drop down as an optional field, are you associated with any of these? Yes or no? Are you associated with any of these clubs or organizations? That might help grease the wheels, I guess, on people volunteering the information rather than feeling pushed to associate. And you can just say none or not available also as an option.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah, organization names also good. Saw that suggestion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. Good. So there are multiple choice options here. Is like these are called radio buttons. Most people don't know them by that name, but it's just those circles that you push. So it's going to be choose one of the three. So that's popular for a yes or no, or are you affiliated with the Rotary, this or this, and they're going to choose one of the however many options. Works very similar to the drop down, one option per line in that way. A date field, and then just a simple checkbox, true or false, in that kind of way. Awesome. Question on contact custom fields. Those all make sense, what they do. Cool.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Once you've started receiving registrations, if you decide you want to add something on, is that going to be a problem?
No, it won't be a problem. The problem will be, it's not necessarily a problem. It just, the gap will be in information for anyone right who registered before. They can update their account anytime, and it includes all these custom fields. And so when they log back in, they're able to update their account accordingly. And if they go to that page and they try to change something and it has a newly required field, it's going to make them fill it out before they can change any information.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good question.
Hey, John, quick question. I know this is, I've used the system a lot. I know it's going to be difficult to go through this in 15 minutes. Maybe this is a question for Jeff about another in-depth training session that for people that have started using the system, because I have a lot more, even though I've used it, and I can't have the time here.
The plan is these 3 meetings are, in person or not in person, whatever, live training times. John is developing a manual that is going to go along with when, soon he's going to be switching everybody over website wise. And this manual is going to be kind of a step-by-step right next to when you receive the new website, you'll get that manual. And yeah, that really is, we're hoping that, is going to answer all questions and walk everybody through this the best we can. John, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think that's it. I know, I'm sure as we keep rolling out websites, even beyond these 2 months, we'll have probably some more targeted trainings as questions start coming of maybe going a little bit more in depth on project management or in depth on this or that. That'll be shorter, probably stints. We'll make sure, it's just kind of seeing what questions start to come and some of those kinds of things.
And one last thing, just for, if you're on the platform and you make updates, it rolls out to everyone, or do we? Okay.
Yeah, it does. Yep. Yeah, good question.
One thing I might throw out there for you, John, just is if you find any city leaders that are willing to do a train the trainer kind of scenario, that way you don't have to be the the poor guy on the hook for
Yeah.
for all of it, and then the cities could then train their other respective administrators as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's good. Cool. All right, let's keep pushing through here. Project restoration custom fields works very similar to your contact custom fields. This is going to be, what questions do you want asked when they sign up for a project? So every time they sign up for a project, what question do you want asked? Like, can you help set up for the event? Are you those kinds of things? Same options. You can build that out. Cool. We then get into our general waiver. So the system is going to help track and manage your waiver. For every year, it's going to make sure every user has a valid waiver annually. So anytime they try to sign up for a project, that is when it checks for the waiver, not when they create an account, when they sign up for a project. And so when they sign up for their project, it's going to show this text if they have not signed your waiver, and then they'll give consent for that accordingly. So here's where you can change the text for your waiver in that sort of way.
Yeah, because this is just what we do here.
Yep.
This is what our lawyer has gone through. You need to change out some words or even run it by your own lawyers. You're welcome to change it however you want.
Yep. Awesome.
John, question on this. So I know last meeting we talked about, so if it's an annual thing and then you sign up for your project, but you're signing up 2 months before the rally, and then by the rally time it's expired, is there a way to set the date differently? Or I don't know, kind of just a workaround that?
Yeah, I know that's still on my list too. And it might be, and that might be some of the language we also probably might have to include in the waiver of something of the period that so I think this is set for a year. And so it could be just changing the language of how long it's effective for, or something like that, is probably going to be necessary for that change as well. Yeah, but no, it's a good question. Yeah, and you will know, you'll have access to all of your volunteers knowing which ones have expired or not. So if push comes to shove, day of you're pulling your list, you're going to know if someone somehow has a expired waiver, and then you can get them to sign it the day of. Cool, but it would be, definitely nice to make sure to check that as well. All right.
Hey, just FYI, I mean, we need to have all this in place on order. Knock on wood, I mean, 250,000 volunteers and not one issue, not one legal issue in any of our cities. We still need to have everything in order. Everyone needs to have everything in place. But God, thank you for protecting us, and we hope that it continues.
Absolutely.
To piggyback on someone else's question that they typed in, do the anonymous volunteers go away then?
No, anonymous volunteers are still there. And so that's the day of, you're making sure that every anonymous volunteer is going to sign a waiver the day of. Yep.
I got a question on the waivers. So couldn't you just make it like a required option as people sign up that, that is a requirement, whether, last year's waiver is still valid or not, just so that way you're covering all your bases?
Yeah, we could. The other option is just to set like the waiver for a 6-month period versus, have it expire on a shorter term. So they're just signing it more often. If you do more than a once a year thing, that would probably be the, and that's what I'll think through. And that might actually be the solution, is you have them sign it. It's only a 9-month valid waiver or something. So it's probably not going to ever be an issue. Yeah. Cool. All right. Email settings here is where you're going to control when things are sent out from your system, or when people sign up, who you're going to want to notify. So what's the main admin email that you want people to get, who you want that response to be sent to. And then what custom messages do you want when an account is created, when someone registers for a project, just boilerplate general message. And then this is where you can adjust the logo that's specifically used in your email templates. Okay. These work a little differently than some forms. You're gonna have a little save button to the right. And so that's what's gonna save each one. And then the update is just for the logo at the bottom. Social media links are going to be just your links that you want to use. This directly ties into your website, your front end website, in the footer. And so these are just your social media links. If you don't have a TikTok, you just leave it blank. Good to go. It won't show a TikTok logo. If you ever have any additional social media that you want to utilize, just let me know and we can get those options added for you.
Hey, John, regarding the email, maybe share a little bit more about the purpose of it and what it can do, what it can't do, and other, the option if you want to mass everybody, explain more.
Oh yeah. We'll get into that once we get into the context. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. How much time do I have left, Jeff?
15.
Okay, perfect. All right.
10.
10. Okay.
John, another social that you might want to add is Twitter. Just throwing.
Do I
that
not
out.
have Twitter? Really?
I didn't
You
see
can
it.
you
Unless I'm
can
blind.
leave it out.
Yeah,
It'll
no.
probably be dead in a few
That is
months.
probably
It might, but you never know.
That is so funny. Thanks, Danielle. All right. Email log is going to be a log of every email that's sent through your system. So someone calls you up, hey, I didn't get my registration email, or I created an account, I didn't see it. You can actually go through and you can look at their email that was sent to them and see exactly, oh yeah, your temporary password is this, or, oh no, you're right, I'm not seeing it, I don't think it got sent. Or you can resend that email to them. Hey, check your spam folder, check your junk, see what's happening. We're using an email validation system to do everything we can from our end to make sure that email is being sent to them. While we're onboarding you, we're authenticating your domain with them. We have a 99% reputation. So there should be no reason Outlook or Gmail or anything is blocking our emails. City government emails will always have issues, just always, and school districts. They're spam assassins to the nth degree. And so they'll always have to whitelist your domain from their end. But this will help you know if it's at least being sent to them. And then we have some tools to help figure out what's happening from there. So this can be a helpful log to see what's happening.
Will you also be able to see if a project leader sends an email out?
Yes, yep, every email, yep.
Excellent.
Yep.
And what is so I know there's been some issues about kind of the source email or where it's coming from. Well, how is that broadcast out? What is that? Is that a field we populate or?
Yes, depending on how you send the email. When they sign up, any automated emails are all going to come from do not reply at your domain.
Okay.
Any queued up emails from a project leader from you, it's going to come from you. Yep.
Okay.
Good.
Are you able to see if the emails have been opened?
I have hopes to do that. We do have some analytics that we have access to. And so that's what I'm hoping to integrate into this. Yeah.
And I think I sent an email about this, John, but just, on matters like if we wanted to extend emails, specifically other specific emails for the domain, we can work with you guys on that.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. Very good.
Cool. Team members and permissions. This is where you're going to be able to manage who has access to your backend and front end. And so there are multiple levels. Team member is going to be just view permission only of your admin side. They're also going to get notifications when people sign up for a project or suggest a project. So this is someone they want to know what's happening. They can see what's happening. They can't change anything. Backend manager is just going to manage your admin portal here. Website manager, just your website, your front end website, and then city admin has everything. You find the users from your contact table, add them how you want to give them permission, and then add them accordingly. All right. Let's jump over into contacts. This is going to be your contact repository for anyone and everyone who has an account, is a child within your system. So all the adults are going to have this icon. Children are going to have this icon. If you have a custom field of a date of birth, it's going to calculate their age for you. You can edit every contact these fields are not all required, so you just put whatever you want. The only thing that are going to be required is going to be their name and email. I think that may not even be required. You're gonna be able to select their affiliations. That's where you can have multiple, and then any custom demographic stuff that you want here. You can delete, you can email directly through the system, directly to that individual contact. And so you can use our email sender here. We'll get more into that here. If you click projects, you're going to view exactly which projects they've signed up for. And so be able to see which projects they've registered for in the system easily. Yeah, you can toggle the view to see leaders only. And so it's only going to show people who are leaders within the system. You can export into an Excel sheet and then of course add new contacts. When you add a new contact, it's going to create an account for them, has a little message down here. And so it's immediately going to send them an email with a kind of welcome message saying that an account has been created for you. You can log in here, here's a temporary password, get your Love Modesto account ready to go or whatever it is. So just be mindful, if you're adding contacts, they're going to get an email saying that an account has been created for them.
I'm sorry, who gets categorized as leaders in the system?
People you assign as project leaders from the project side.
Got it.
Yep.
Hey, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody in the chat asked, can you add that description for each role? So like, I think for like the city admin, the team
yes,
member.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then one more question on adding people. When the merger happens from the old site to the new site, are contacts being automatically put in there? Is it something that we're going to have to do manually?
Yeah. So we're suggesting that you don't bring contacts over. We're definitely going to help you back up all your contact information. The reason is we want everyone to start fresh, to have a clean slate, make sure we get all the information. So that's one of the issues we had with the old system. But if that's like a deal breaker, that's okay. We can definitely do a big bulk import and get all your contacts in there. You just have to be ready, because once we do that, they're all 1,000 of your contacts are getting emails with new accounts and messaging. And so that can bring a wave of communication if you're not prepared for, can be overwhelming. If that makes sense.
And Sarah, our plan, I think the ideal plan is downloading all from the old site, downloading all your contacts. I put them in constant contact. If I use that, we use that email server, and we have our texting numbers too, our aztexting.com we use. And so I don't need to put them all in this new system. We still have them, over here. And then this new system, we're going to have clear, clean data, for going forward. So I think this is going to work, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But would it make sense if we do end up migrating the old information? Our thought was to send out a mass email to our contact list saying that we have a new system and we really want you to go in and update your information. You're going to get an email saying you have an account, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just depends on however you want to do that. You can either send an email out from the old system or through Constant Contact or whatever email system you use saying, hey, we've got a new system, go sign up and create a new account. Or you're going to be receiving an email to log in and update your information.
Got it.
Yep. Good. Through here, you can send emails once you got a contact system done. Just keep in mind, it won't ever be Constant Contact. It won't ever be MailChimp. I encourage you to use a third party for any bulk mailing in that sort of way. But this can be a helpful way to send blasts out if you're not there or you're not ready or whatever it is. It's just going to be a kind of plain text email. It's going to look good. It's going to have a nice little template, but it's just kind of meant for basic communication. So you can email all your contacts, all registered volunteers, anyone who's registered for the latest upcoming event. It's going to email your or just project leaders, or then you can select an actual individual from that. You can send a test email to yourself, and then once you're ready, you just hit send message. There's no drafts. You can't save this, anything like that. You come here, send your email, and it's done. You can also send a text message in a similar way. When they create an account, we have an option for them to get consent for a text message. They select their provider, and then it sends a text through an email system. And so they receive it from basically from an email address through your domain. And then it's free, doesn't cost anything. It's not going to be the most reliable because they have to provide us with certain information. But it's still there if you want to try and use it.
So maybe, John, like for smaller cities or smaller number of contacts, this is really great.
Exactly. Yep.
But as you grow in numbers, you're going to want to have those third party,
Yeah.
Features that, and just, there's so much advantages to having that.
Can
Yeah.
you send to just a certain project? People who
Yes,
sign up for a certain
absolutely.
project?
Yep.
That would make sense for all cities. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. So projects.
Hey, let's just do this. We're just going to keep going. If you got to jump
Okay,
off,
all right.
awesome. But I think we just got to keep going here.
Cool. Any questions on contacts then before we jump into projects? All right. All right. So projects. One shift that's different than the last one is we're being a little more intentional of specifying an event that the projects are tied to versus just assuming an annual event. So this allows you to have projects for multiple events within a year. And so the first step as you're starting to build out your projects is to create an event. Event's going to have a start date, location, if it's visible or not, in those sorts of ways. You can view previous events and then view even the projects assigned to those events for legacy stuff. So then from those events, click the wrong button here. From those events, you'll have a little kind of button view that displays up here. If an event is not set to be published, it's just a draft, you can still see it, but it's not going to show on your front end website. So if you wanted to start populating events or something like that, you can have that. It's not visible for anyone. All your projects are going to have all the very similar information you guys are used to. It's going to have your title, your categories from your list, duration, the event that it's assigned to. If you want the rally information displayed on the project page, the location of the actual project, if you want the project location displayed, how many volunteers you need, when you want to open the project for registrations, and then all the categories if it's friendly for these sorts of people. If you want to allow anonymous registration, so you can toggle that on or off, and then how many you want to limit the anonymous registrations to. So 4, 10, 100, whatever. Description, and then photo for the project. And then you can set the status for the project, a draft, or it can be a published. So draft is just going to show on your side, not going to post to the front end website. Yeah, so every project, so we have all these buttons. The magnifying glass is your view button. The star makes it a featured project. So on your front end website, we have a featured module you can add. It's going to show just featured projects kind of on your homepage. So that's a way to select which ones you want to emphasize. The eye icon is a way to toggle the status. So you can make it inactive, so it's not visible on the front end website in that way. You can
What kind of
duplicate-
module is the featured projects? Is it a slider or is it just a grouping?
So it just shows 3. So it picks the
3, okay.
kind of 3. Yeah, it looks kind of like a carousel. Yeah.
Got it.
Yep. Good question. Duplicate, again, duplicate your project, obviously edit, and then delete.
What happens if we accidentally delete is there a way to recover?
No, but it does make you confirm it.
Okay.
So you're not going to accidentally select the button, but yeah, there's no recycle bin. Yep. Cool. All right. Okay, so if you view the project, it's going to take you to a similar page like your front end website, but it's going to have some more details. It's going to have the picture, all the information that you've selected. Then you're going to start to, so this is like how the sponsor gets assigned. You'll see the logo for the sponsor assigned. You're going to have all this similar options, edit, copy. You can assign volunteers. So really easy. It's going to look through your contact system. You can find, I'm going to sign Jeff up for this, this project. It's going to send him an email saying he's been signed up. It's going to ask any of those registration questions. Or you can also
John?
add new contacts. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I have a quick question for you. When I go into the project, when I go into the view, I am not seeing those buttons that you see down there that allow you to duplicate, that allow you to assign people. Specifically, I was trying to assign somebody that was having difficulty. I have all the possible permissions.
Interesting.
I don't know why I'm not seeing those. What do I have to do to see that?
Okay, I will look into it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, I'm signed in like I'm a city admin, so it should be.
I'm a city admin, but when I go in, I'm not seeing those red buttons.
Are you on the front end website or are you on the back on the admin?
I'm signed into admin.
Huh, okay, all right. I'll check it out, Green.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so you can assign volunteers. It's going to drop them into your volunteer page here. It's going to sort it by minors as well. When people create their account, they can add family members. And so that's where we're going to get some of those minors in that way. And then you can manage any anonymous volunteers. So you can change the totals here and click update, and that's going to change that accordingly. Questions on how we get volunteers in here, how this works? That all kind of making sense?
No, it's pretty clear, and removing them is obvious with the trash bucket.
Yep. Yeah. Cool. So assigning sponsors, this is where you can, very similar, you can find sponsors within your system, add them as that project sponsor, or you can add a new sponsor just right from this page in that way, selecting their level and those things. And then this is where we can email through just project specific. So you can send an email to just these project leaders or just these volunteers. It's going to pull just for these 11 volunteers. I'm going to send a message to them in that way. So easy to do that. Your project leaders have a very similar access to these buttons. They can add volunteers and they can email and they can export. I think that's it. So they don't have access to change project settings or anything like that, but they can add people and then communicate through the system in that way. Last thing is we've got an export. And so these are some of the things we just put together to try and give you access to the information here. Excel files, just a contact list, or then just the volunteer information with everything we have about them. Contact list is just email, phone number, names, that stuff. And then we've created PDFs as well. The idea we're trying to do is give you good printables. If your team wants binders their day of hard copy stuff, this is how you can get some of that information. Contact list is just going to be all the volunteers with their contact information, or an actual check-in sheet. That'll be helpful for your project leaders. They can literally sit there and check off if they've showed up. It's also going to show if they have a valid waiver. So that's really helpful, as well as contact information in that sort of way. Let's see if I can just show you this real quick. So it's going to look something like this. So it's just gonna be your project information, who's signed up, a little space for a check mark, and then waiver completed.
Nice.
Cool. All right. Cool. You can make people who have signed up, you can make them a leader. So that's an easy way to do that. As you're assigning volunteers, there's the option to make them a volunteer or a project leader in that way. So if you know they're going to be the leader as you're adding them.
Hey, Jonathan, when you do that and make somebody a leader, does it automatically give them like leader privileges in the system?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Hey, John, another question about leaders. If they're allowed to assign volunteers, does that only allow them to assign if the project's open, has open volunteer spots, correct?
Ooh, good question.
Because that could be really messy.
Yeah, don't think it limits them. Yeah, because it doesn't limit you. I don't think it limits them either. It only limits people through the main registration.
I just could see that being
Yeah.
a big issue, because if you've got, everybody wants to go to one project and we need people in other areas, that could be a little bit dicey, that's all.
Yeah, no, it's a good thought. Yeah. Yeah, I'll think through that. Yeah.
Okay.
You just need to rein in your project leaders and you'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Totally.
Good luck.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Good. All right. Other questions on
Hey, John,
projects?
yeah,
managing this?
projects, and I do. I'm just, when the project or when the event is done, it should automatically roll to a past event so that it can be looked at, because it's not doing that for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you do a survey and you do it and then it expires. It should show up then automatically as a past event. So if someone goes to your front end and says, oh, what have they been doing? It
Oh, I
should
see.
show things, because I've got some weird things with mine where it shows an event that we did last summer, but I don't know how to get it off. But it doesn't appear in the admin section.
Yeah, that's just a page on your website. And so that's
Okay.
on the front end page, you can change that. Yeah.
Okay, but under admin, under upcoming events versus past events, in this, if you go to the events under manage events, that should automatically roll, but it's not.
Oh, it's not on yours. Okay, no, that's good. I'll check that out for you, Curtis.
Okay.
Will we be able to archive or access the archives from our old system, like with descriptions and things?
Yes, good question. So that's one of the things we'll ask you as we're onboarding you over, is do you want us to pull some of your previous projects? And then that would allow you to copy them, view them, some of that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yep.
Because a lot of them are similar from year to year.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you go to your old site, there's a new button on there now that you can download all your project names and descriptions and information. So you can also download all your volunteers. Obviously, you know how to do that. But now there's a new button that our old developer put on there just for us, which was really cool that he did that for us.
Nice.
Awesome. Good. All right. Other project questions?
Jonathan, when we're assigning volunteers, or anyone else is assigning volunteers, is it going to show us a notification if they have an expired waiver?
Oh, no, it's not. It won't. Yeah, I'm still kind of thinking through how to help with some of that. And we'll probably have a better view of where you can go and actually look at all of your volunteers who have signed up, if they have an expired waiver or not. And you could probably message anyone who has an expired one so they can come through and sign it and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, but right now it doesn't, but definitely on our radar. Yeah.
Okay, second question. When people are forming their household, so most of the time when I have somebody signing up another anonymous person, you know, yes, we do have people with groups, but most of the time it's a spouse. So I'm thinking through how to find a way that they can sign up people in their household, perhaps if they have a valid waiver or something of that nature, so that you don't have, you know, people in the same family can maybe sign up as a group together at once, rather than having, you know,
Yeah.
parents and everyone all having to
Do their own account and everything. Yep.
able to work through that.
Yeah, so when they create an account, they can create a family. And so they can add children, and and this is maybe where we can rethink some of that, because right now it just says add your children, and they could add their spouse as a child. And so it might just be add family members. Maybe that's the better vernacular. But that's essentially how they would do that. And so then
I'm
when
just
they
thinking
register,
through, you know, as an adult, you know, legally they'd have to sign their own waiver.
right?
But if perhaps there's like an associated account, so if you have a parent with the children, but maybe you can have, you know, some way to associate profile with somebody else's profile.
I see. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Let me chew on that. Yeah, that's a good thought.
All right, thanks, John.
Planning- So John, Planning Center has a really good integration of that. So I would,
No, that's where I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Danny. Yeah. That's good.
Jonathan, just to review the section you're on, this is manage project from the city leader admin portal, right?
Yes, exactly.
This would be different looking if someone had privileges to modify the project, or there's a leadership designation for that, right? Somewhat like this, but not the city leader.
Yeah, so your backend manager is gonna have this same view. The only one that has access to this would be your project leader, and they just don't have as many buttons. They can't, they just can't do as much to change the project settings part of it. Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
One more question.
Yeah.
Let's just say I sign up as a parent, I sign up my kids under my profile, and we all participate in the upcoming project. And then next year I want to participate, but my kids won't be there. Is there a way to identify who's participating
Good.
in
Yeah,
each
good question.
event?
Yep. So when you sign up for a project, you can toggle each person on or off. So you say they all default to yes, but then you can say, oh no, my kids won't be there. Yep.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good. All right. We do have this similar suggested projects page. It's going to show all of the suggested projects that have been submitted through your form. It's a really easy to assign to the event in that way. You can view the information, edit it before you switch it over, all those kinds of things. Yeah, and it's going to have the information of who suggested it, so you can ask more information or something like that if needed.
So this would be similar to the old project application?
Exactly. Yep. Yep. Works very similar. Cool.
Will we be going over the longer term project kind of set up on a separate day?
Yeah, and this might be something we get into more in detail for sure later. It works very similar to the event-based projects.
Yeah.
Instead of an event, you're just going to create an organization, and those organizations have projects you can assign to. And so that's basically the only difference. And so instead of events, you set organizations. It's going to ask more information about them, and then you actually then add projects to each organization in that way.
Can we create them in a way that's not visible to people so we can experiment with?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
great.
Yep. Same exact thing. Yep. You've got
Thank you.
all your visibilities, drafts, those kinds of things.
Great.
Yeah. Good. Any project questions? Then we'll just look at sponsors, and I think that's it. Cool. All right. So your sponsor manager is going to be how you actually manage all the people who are signing up to sponsor. And so like I mentioned, I think last time as well, we just try to help you create that process to help you manage even the inquiry of sponsors and so on. And so this status is going to be the key. And so a sponsor will not display on your website anywhere until it's marked as paid. And so this makes it pretty easy to say, oh, we've just have someone that we've talked to, their status is inquired. We're thinking this is the level, this is their information, whatever it is, in that sort of way. You can add a note to each sponsor, contacted them on this date, we need to follow up, whatever it is, waiting a check, anything like that. So this starts to help become kind of your workflow for the sponsors as you do that.
Can I make a suggestion, John?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, about the scaling of the logo. So most logos are either kind of square or horizontally have a horizontal aspect ratio. And so if you were scaling them by height instead of width, I think you might get a more uniform scaling. Because so for example, if you get a square logo, it comes up significantly larger than ones that have a horizontal aspect ratio. And I think if you scaled it by height instead of width, you wouldn't see that phenomenon. It's very rare to see a logo that's, elongated. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
no, that's great. It's that's just, one of the problems we're going to have when we're using images of different sizes. The issue with using height is it's really difficult to make something responsive when you're setting a height.
I see.
And so that's part of the issue.
I
What I
see.
suggest is
Mhm.
anytime you're doing sponsor logos, don't
Mhm.
upload the photo they send you. Create a template,
Mhm.
probably, something that's a 69 or a 4:3 square or something like that. You can
Mhm.
use PowerPoint. It's really simple. And then that's what I've done here.
Mhm.
It's because I had the same issue. These are all different sizes and
Mhm.
so on. Create a template, PowerPoint slide, drop the image in, and then export that slide as an image. Then every logo is going to be the same. So if you make every logo the same
Okay.
size, then it's going to
Yes.
scale it accordingly. And
We,
then
we
it's going
ended
to
up
look.
doing that actually,
Oh,
but
good. Okay.
just so you know, you cannot have a transparent background though, because it actually, Luca discovered it actually like cuts away any transparency. So it has to have the white background that matches the
Oh,
website.
sure.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's good. And there's many ways to kind of fix that. But that's an easy way to then it's good if you know all the logos are the same size, then the scaling is going to work properly.
Thank you.
Good question. Awesome. Any questions on sponsor manager, how this works?
Can we import a spreadsheet of sponsors that we already have?
I can help you with that. Yeah. Yep. Cool. Awesome. All right. Good. Any other big picture questions? Anything else we missed?
Well, there was one suggestion somebody made in text. I don't know if you saw it, but just
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the year that the sponsor was active might be a good thing to be able to record there if it's not already somewhere in the database.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not too much trouble to add it, I mean, we could put it probably in the notes, right?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The note might be that perfect opportunity for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in general, hopefully most of your sponsors are going to be some of the very similar sponsors year to year, and you're just making, removing or hopefully just adding more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As time goes on, some may jump on and drop off and come back again. It might be good for, I mean, obviously for bigger cities that are tracking this stuff. I mean, we don't have this problem just yet, but it was a good point someone raised.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah. The notes would probably be the best legacy of what year they're adding and some of that kind of stuff, at least for now. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I had a question on partner versus sponsor. I know it's probably a whole different category, but there's a lot of partners that play that you might want to list or that cities might want to list versus financial sponsors, or maybe they're in kind. Have you thought through that versus having just sponsors listed?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, from your front end website, you have control to add in all those kinds of things. So if you wanted to have are you just talking like a general section of contributors or partners just for the serve day? That's where you could just add its own section, add all their information. It's not going to necessarily be managed on the back end at all. Yeah. And you can always change the language, even though we call it sponsors back here. You don't have to call it sponsors on the front end if you have a different name in that sort of way. Yeah. Yeah, good. All right. Anything else? I don't know if there's anything in the chat I missed.
Yeah, John, do you want to just look at, just browse through that chat real quick?
Yeah.
Just make sure I saw multiple sponsors. Obviously that we can easily do that.
For multiple sponsors on a project, yes, we can. That's set for that, so should be good. And the levels of sponsors, that's where you can start to use or you can have an in-kind sponsor level or something like that that would be able to again, and you're able to set where they show up, what they look like, all that kind of stuff throughout. So you kind of have that power to, be able to assign accordingly. So I think that can work in that way.
John, is it possible? I mean, could it be possible to reorder the sponsors? Because within a particular level, because what we found is you get the order that you added them and you can't rearrange them, even though you might want to highlight some by adding them in a higher position.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I thought I had it sorting by their name within their level, but that could be incorrect. Yeah, but you're wanting to be able to set the custom sort per level. Okay.
If possible. I mean, that's just a request.
Yeah. Let me let me think about it. That's good.
All right, well, let's do this. Thank you, John. Holy cow, we're indebted to you.
Thank you, John.
What you
Thank
have
you
done
very
here
much.
Thanks for
is
everything.
unbelievable. Yeah, and I also want to just say this website is your guys' website. Like, I love this input. I love this feedback. And this is, we're going to have we're doing our trainings now. No, we're going to continuing throughout next year. Okay. It's not like this is going to be the last time we're talking here. John's going to be a part of these calls. But this intensive time, we just want to use our time wisely for now. Thank you, Beta Cities. If anyone's still listening, or if you're listening later, man, the Beta Cities were amazing to kind of help us in this journey as well. That was really cool. John, the plan for website transfers, we have the dates, when you sign your contract and paid your annual fee, you are in, a log here of order, what you're going to get your new website. What's the plan for new website transfers?
Yeah, so as we kind of work through that process, I'll reach out to you, letting you know that we're getting your new website going. The first step is I'll probably just give you right then access to your admin portal. You'll be able to start logging in, seeing how that starts to work and so on, as we get your new front end website deployed. Part of that is just coordinating how you want that all to happen, what you want transferred, some of that information. And then it's just pretty much letting you go. We'll start with the template and some of those kinds of things. I'll try to look at your current website and look at what changes or modifications you've already made and try and help get you there. So you're not kind of starting from square one again. And so that should help. But we also want you to be able to create the new, it's going to be a much more robust front end website. So you'll be able to do a lot more in that way. So that'll be good. But yeah, it'll be a pretty seamless, easy transition, I think.
Sounds good. So the goal is this next month is trying to get most people moved over, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good. And then, work on December, you're working on, and then January, it's go time. I mean, you guys are off and running, which most cities need to be with Spring Volunteer Days. All right, y'all. Hey, this is the longest meeting we've ever had.
John, I just wanted to say that real quick. This is Luca. Thank you so much for being so responsive on all of our requests recently. Really appreciate it. Really.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, y'all. Have a great day today. Any more questions? Reach out to me, and we're gonna do this together here.
Awesome. Thank you.
Have an awesome day, y'all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.